like me and you play a lot of acoustic guitar, whether it's gigging or just playing at home, there's a lot of times you want to play songs that are in different tunings, but you don't want to change your tuning. For me specifically, I play quite a few acoustic gigs, so it's just me up there on stage with an acoustic guitar and singing, and I play a lot of different genres. And quite often I'll play a song that's originally in a tuning different from standard tuning. A good example of this is Everlong by the Foo Fighters. The song is in drop D. My guitar is typically a half step down, so I'm technically drop D flat. For all intents and purposes for this video, we're going to pretend it's D. So I'm in D. And Everlong is a very recognizable riff, right? And in my opinion, it's not necessarily a song I'd want to just play the chords to as I play it, right? I want to play the riff itself. But in my opinion, when I play it like that, it's lacking something on the acoustic guitar. It's one thing to play it that way on an electric when you've got a backing band, but when it's just me on an acoustic, it just feels kind of weak. And I think that's because an acoustic guitar really shines when you can take advantage of the open strings. Really let everything ring out and have it be big. And when I play a song like this at a gig, the goal is for a rock song to sound big and full, even if it's just me and an acoustic guitar. And one other thing is I don't like changing tunings while I'm gigging. If I can keep my guitar in standard tuning and just use a capo here and there, perfect. I don't want to have to mess around with doing drop D, back to E standard, things like that. I know it's not a huge deal, but if I can remove any variables from the situation while I'm up there, I'm going to do that. Let's just take like the root notes for each chord and I'll show you how I transpose it from this to this. So that riff starts with a D, and then it goes to a B, the 9th fret, but we're in drop D, so if we were in E, it would be the 7th fret, which is the B. So B, and then down to a G, back to a B. And to go one step further, and for the pre-chorus, I let that low D ring out again. To an A, same thing. To an A again. For the chorus, it starts with that B minor again. To a G. To a D. I don't know if you agree with me when, like, I played this chord. Like, it sounds good. It sounds pretty big, but it's lacking something on an acoustic guitar. I'd much rather play something down here. You know, that's so much bigger sounding. It just lacks something to me, in my opinion. To address my second concern, which was the changing of the tuning, I'm going to go back up to E, and we'll figure these notes out. Okay, so now I'm in E standard, E flat, but you get the idea. So if I go back to what those chords were, if I go to a D, and then I say I want to drop down to that B, I could. Now if I go to the G, it's hard to hit those intervals for me. So what I'm going to try to do is use the capo on 2 and take advantage of that open C position because there are a lot of open strings in the key of C. So let me try that again. So I'll play, it's still a D note, but I'm playing it as if it's a C. Then I'll drop down to that B, which is open now. And now I'll drop to the G, which is an F. Now I'm back to an A, or a B, sorry. So see how that riff, I'm using a lot more open strings, and it just feels more natural on an acoustic guitar. And we can do the same thing for the pre-chorus. So for the pre-chorus, we're again on that root note of C. Honestly, what I do is I just sound it out. You can use a lot of these open strings to ring out to kind of fill it in. For the chorus, it was what? B minor to G to D. So if we transpose that down a whole step again, we're from B minor to A minor to F to C. It sounds like this. Hello, I've waited here for you Everlong. Tonight I've thrown myself into out of the red, out of her head she's saying. And I wonder when I sing along with you if everything could ever feel this real forever. If everything could ever be this good again. The only thing I'll ever ask of you, you gotta promise not to stop when I say when she's saying. It works out pretty good. I don't have to do a whole lot of work down here to make it work out with an acoustic guitar. However, the only downside is it still doesn't fit my voice. As you can tell, I had to strain quite a bit, and you can probably hear it in my voice right now, hoarse even from that little section. So what I'll do, especially if I'm playing live for 3 hours at a time, I'm going to transpose that down even more. I'm going to take the capo off and just play it open, so I'll play in C instead of D. Even if you feel like you can hit all the notes in the original key, it's still not a bad idea to try to transpose down just to help your voice, because 3 hours is a long time. So this is what it sounds like in C. Hello, I've waited here for you Everlong. Tonight I've thrown myself into out of the red, out of her head she's saying. And I wonder when I sing along with you if everything could ever feel this real forever. If anything could ever be this good again. The only thing I'll ever ask of you, you gotta promise not to stop when I say when she's saying. Yeah, so I mean the takeaway, obviously you can learn note for note what I did, how I played that song differently, but just try to get creative with the songs that you play, right? I mean, you don't have to play it in the original key. It's called a cover for a reason. You can do what you want with the song. You can make it your own. You can make it easier to play. You can make it harder to play. You can add things here and there. But for me, I'm just the meat and potatoes. I want it to be simple. I want it to work for me. I want to play the song and move on to the next one. Hopefully you learned something. Let me know if you want to see any more of these like theory type videos. But yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Until next time.